No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Friday Night Smackdown for November the 18th, 2022. Shout out to the early birds in the chat room. Michael Wayne, Kayfabe Games, Darren G, Joey Perez. I appreciate you all tuning in early tonight. Thank you for that. Now, let's get right into SmackDown. We have a lot to discuss with Survivor Series coming up in just a week away. We had Drew McIntyre and the Brawling Brutes kicking off the show with a promo. Sheamus talked about his history with McIntyre, brought up how McIntyre was Sheamus's best man at his wedding, which was just a few weeks ago. They made Drew McIntyre an honorary brute since Sami Zayn is an honorary oos. McIntyre said he was ready to go to war with his brother. He hugged Sheamus. Nice feel-good moment here. And then the question is, who will be the fifth man? That led to Sami Zayn making an appearance. Crowd started chanting Usi. Sami Zayn said that the bloodline does not care who the fifth guy is, and he personally guaranteed that the bloodline will win War Games. Sheamus said that once they find out who the fifth guy is, Sami Zayn is going to crap his pants, and it is going to be the last person that Sami Zayn expects. And that was the end of the segment. We had a little cliffhanger for the main event. And by the way, he'll be watching on demand. Shout out to Walter Cruz, who is there in Hartford, Connecticut. He was at SmackDown, and he's probably watching whatever's going on. Actually, he's here. He super chatted $5. I'm surprised Walter made it. He says, "Hello all, live from the site of SmackDown. Like and share the video. Even when I'm at the event, I still hashtag stick to my shtick. Get hand on the merchandise. Feel merchy." I appreciate that, Walter. Walter still showed up, and he is reliable. That is for sure. He was third row on SmackDown. If you guys look carefully, you can see him on television, especially in the first segment when they're shooting from the hard camera. You look over to the right side of the screen, third row, you can see Walter Cruz. We had World Cup action, the World Cup tournament. Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali. Very good match here between these guys, as you would expect. Two high flyers. Before the match, Ali was in the trainer's room, and Ricochet gave him a fist bump. They had a show of respect. Ali's ribs were taped up because of the attack on Raw and getting beat up by Bobby Lashley. Ricochet was not sure if he wanted to hurt Ali. He asked Ali if Ali wanted to get out of the match, but Ali was not backing down. And Ali took a shot to the back of Ricochet's head to get the upper hand for a while. He hit an avalanche backstabber. And then later, during the commercial break, Ricochet hit a superplex, hit the Michinoku driver to Ali on the outside. But then back in the ring, Ricochet missed a splash. Ali put on a submission. Ricochet did manage to get his foot on the rope. And then Ali hit a tornado DDT, went for the 450, but missed. And then Ricochet hit the shooting star press to pick up the 1-2-3 victory over a very game Ali. And then afterwards, Ricochet gave him some props. Backstage, we had Jey Uso upset with Sami Zayn that Zayn would go out there and guarantee a victory when they don't even know who the fifth man is. We also had a recap of the Usos beating the New Day from last week. Darren wants to know, where does Mustafa Ali go from here? I guess he continues to be the little engine that could. He's just going to keep on chugging. But anyways, New Day was interviewed, and they were interrupted by Imperium. Imperium said that the New Day now have the record for being the biggest clowns in WWE, making a mockery of their sport, their sacred ring. And then Kofi Kingston said that Gunther looks like Lurch from the Addams Family. And then a 6-man tag team match was set up. New Day said that they would get a tag team partner for that. And then backstage, we had Emma meeting up with Madcap Moss. The two are dating in real life, and we got art imitating life. They're doing a storyline here with these two. She gave him a little bit of a pep talk and was being flirty with him. And then we had Madcap Moss versus Karrion Kross. Moss took it to Kross, clotheslined Kross to the outside. Kross eventually slowed down the pace. Scarlett interfered, attacked Moss, slapped him. Moss got fired up, though, and then Scarlett stood in front of Kross, and that momentary distraction led to Kross taking the advantage. He tried to get the Kross jacket on. Eventually, he got him on the ground, locked it in, and it was it. Madcap Moss had nowhere to go. He tapped out, and then afterwards, you had Kross continue to hold on to the submission. He would not let go right away. Emma ran down to check on Moss, and maybe we get a mixed tag team match at some point. Colin Andrews says, say that 3 times fast. Kross on Moss, Moss on Kross, Kross on Moss, Moss on Kross, Kross on Moss, Moss on Kross. There, did I do it? Wasn't that bad. We had Bray Wyatt come into the ring for a promo, talked about how he's conditioned a certain way, and he has been wondering if he could make a change. He said that he was taught that fear is respect. And then he wanted to issue an apology to LA Knight for headbutting him last week, said he had a moment of weakness. That led to LA Knight showing up, and LA Knight said that nobody has ever understood him, but he believes that Bray Wyatt respects him. He went for a handshake to accept the apology, but then he slapped Bray Wyatt, and you could just hear it. Crowd did not chant it, but you could feel it. This boy done effed up. And LA Knight said he accepted the apology, said they go their separate ways now. Wyatt said, all right, fine, they're even. Wyatt said he's going to fight the urges. He went for another handshake, and then LA Knight slapped him again. So now you know he really done goofed. This was a hell of a segment. I really enjoyed it. Bray Wyatt, clearly a babyface now. LA Knight getting some TV time, getting a serious storyline. He did really well. Promos, that's his strong suit. Both guys are strong on the mic, and the facial expressions, everything they did was awesome. Really enjoyed this segment. Very well done with everybody involved here. And yeah, Bray Wyatt, the look in his eyes after he got that second slap, fantastic. Love it. That's what wrestling's about. You got to have that emotion and express it. And Bray Wyatt certainly did that. We had the Usos backstage with Karrion Kross, maybe a little teaser for the future. They wanted to know if Kross was the 5th man on Drew McIntyre's team, but Kross said he's not a follower and said one day when he does take Roman Reigns' titles, it will be on his own time. I wonder if we'll get that match at some point, Roman Reigns versus Karrion Kross. We then had Shotzi versus Shayna Baszler. Ronda Rousey was out there, and I think this was probably the weak point of the show. Like, this was a really good SmackDown, but this match was not so good in my opinion. You had all of the distractions, and Shotzi seemed a little off here with Shayna. Wasn't too good in my opinion. Rousey kept interfering and Shotzi kept being an idiot, getting distracted. Shayna hit a release German suplex. Shotzi kicked out of that. And anytime that Shotzi started to make a comeback, Rousey would interfere. Eventually, Raquel appeared to even the odds, and Shotzi, with the fruit roll-up, got the win. This was very much a Vince McMahon style match where who really got over here? Shotzi's the number one contender, and she wins with a roll-up. So basically, she won by a fluke. She needs to be beating people in significant matches decisively if you want people to take her seriously. So when she wins by a fluke, what does it accomplish? And Shayna doesn't need to be losing. Like, I would not have booked this match personally, but they did, and now they're doing a tag team match on next week's show. Feels very Vince-like for sure. I wasn't a fan of this. This was probably the weak spot of the show. Did nothing for me. Doesn't build up Shotzi as any more of a credible challenger. So, yeah, not really feeling it. I like the Shayna Ronda Rousey pairing, but they need to build up somebody who can be a credible challenger for Ronda Rousey. We then had LA Knight backstage being interviewed, and then he walked into this dark room, and he did not realize, as he was talking in the interview, a mask appeared in the background. Very Michael Myers Halloween-like. I loved it. And he walks into the room, doesn't know that things are not going to end well for him. Then after the commercial break, sure enough, he was laid out. A bunch of objects were dumped on him, and he was a mess. It looked like a bomb went off, and he was completely devastated. We then had the six-man tag team match, Imperium versus New Day and their tag team partner, who turned out to be Braun Strowman. And this was interesting, the little teases between Strowman and Gunther. You had the other guys brawling, and Gunther came in and had a face-off with Strowman, but then ran away. And then later in the match, after Woods was worked on for a while, Strowman got the hot tag. Gunther tried to chop Strowman. Strowman completely no-sold it. Strowman took out Imperium with the Strowman Express and went for the monster bomb on Gunther, but Gunther did escape, tagged out to Kaiser. Kofi Kingston tagged back in, and then Kofi and Xavier hit the midnight hour and picked up the victory. So yeah, they teased like Gunther has perhaps finally met his match with Braun Strowman. And of course, Strowman is in this World Cup tournament. Winner gets a shot at Gunther. Seems like that's where they're going here. Strowman seems like the obvious favorite to win. He does have a few more people, two more people he has to get through. One of them is Ricochet. And backstage, we had a little confrontation between Ricochet and Strowman. And Ricochet brought up how Strowman needs to not look past the flippy flippers, which was what Strowman said on Twitter a week or so ago and got a lot of people worked up. They made a reference to that Twitter comment from Strowman. That was interesting. But yeah, Ricochet's probably getting his ass kicked, I'm thinking. And then we had the World Cup match, main event, Butch versus Sami Zayn. Everybody was at ringside, Bloodline, Brawling Brutes, McIntyre. And Sami Zayn got in a lot of offense, pushed Butch off the top to the outside onto the barricade, and then after the commercial break, hit the Blue Thunder Bomb and picked up the victory. No, he never wins with the Blue Thunder Bomb. You guys know that. Then a big fight broke out with everybody. Everyone was brawling, and Butch hit the bitter end, got the 1-2-3 victory on Sami Zayn to advance. And it will be him and Santos Escobar next week. And the winner of that faces the winner of Strowman and Ricochet. So I presume it's Santos versus Strowman in the finals, and Strowman wins. After the match was over, you had the fight continue, and then Roman Reigns showed up. Roman Reigns came down to the ring, took down the Brutes. McIntyre took off his shirt. He was ready to fight Roman, but then Solo Sikoa came in. Roman Reigns hit McIntyre with the spear. Then Roman Reigns fought with Sheamus, but then the numbers game caught up with Sheamus as well. And that's when Kevin Owens' music hit. We all thought it was going to be Kevin Owens, but he did get injured, and there was concern that he would not make it for the pay-per-view, but it looks like he is going to be on the card in War Games. He came down to the ring, got in the ring with Roman Reigns, and there was a little face-off between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And Roman Reigns tried to take advantage with a cheap shot, but Kevin Owens got the best of Reigns and took him down with the KO stunner. And then you had Team McIntyre with Kevin Owens standing tall. So yes, Kevin Owens did get physical here. He looked like he was struggling a little bit, though. He seemed a little bit sluggish with his movements and being extra cautious, not moving too quickly. So I'm thinking he's still hurt and he's just going to try to work through the injury. Since it's a pretty big deal, you know, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, this whole storyline that they've been slowly building up, and you have to think that Kevin Owens is a big part of this War Games match, and you know they were hoping to work through the injury, and in fact it looks like that's what they're going to do. Owens tweaked his knee, so I mean he's hurt, but looks like he's going to work through it. And that was SmackDown. Really strong show. Everything with the Bloodline, very entertaining as usual. Liked the Imperium match with Strowman. Liked the stuff with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. Like I said, really the only thing that I thought was weak on the show was the Shotzi and Shayna Baszler match. Everything else was strong. So I'm giving SmackDown a B+. I think that this storyline with Shotzi and Ronda Rousey, kind of filler. But, you know, once we get into WrestleMania season, and I presume Becky Lynch goes after Ronda Rousey, that women's title storyline should start to pick up. But yeah, overall, very strong SmackDown. Looking forward to War Games. We got the 5-on-5. And this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing our predictions for Survivor Series. It's a bit early, but have my 40th on Tuesday. So taking off Tuesday, and then the rest of the week, we got stuff going on. Thanksgiving is on Thursday. So busy times, but we got AEW Full Gear coverage Saturday night, Sunday night, Survivor Series predictions, and then the usual schedule with Raw, Dynamite, and Friday Night SmackDown. And then, of course, next Saturday is Survivor Series. Thank you all for watching tonight. I very much appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, spread the word, tell a friend, and remember to pick up some merch at nodq.com/merch and say yes to nodq.com. I will see you all next time.